Welcome to a Vanguard news video without the bullshit. Let's get started. It's that time again for Bushiroad to give their PowerPoint presentation to convince their customers why we should stick with their card games instead of going to Team Bandai. But it seems there's tension between Bushiroad and Cygames, as they have included Shadowverse Evolve's presentations along with their less popular card games. Meanwhile, both Vanguard and Wise Schwarz get their own presentations on another day. Don't you just love underhanded marketing tactics for a property they don't fully own? The Vanguard presentation will be on Sunday 24th September, meaning that Puerto Rico and my country the Philippines will have something to look forward to after going X2 in our respective BCS regionals, because we weren't allowed to use DBT11 cards. Time to bang your dreams once again as Bushiroad decides to give Morphonica their own nation deck as the collab cards in DBT13. And you heard right, Bang Dream now officially has a nation in the D-Series. Start of the change. Mashiro Kurita is your typical D-Series starter that non-Bang Dream fans will just dub as Lolly Misaki. Summer Sky Harmony Mashiro Kurita when she rides over the grade 0 Mashiro, makes you add a grade 1 Morphonica music order card from your deck. And when she's placed on rear guard, you can discard a critical trigger from hand to add up to 1 music order card from your deck. Bushiroad is bringing back music orders, the same order cards that made you question why didn't you just play Wise Schwarz instead. Landscape cards in the main deck just feels wrong. Daylight is a music order card when played, is put at your central back row rear guard until the end of your turn. That lets you reveal and add the top card of your deck. Then give your Morphonica Vanguard 5k power if the revealed card was a trigger unit. Putting an order card on rear guard is probably why Bushiroad decided to give them their own nation again. This could have all been resolved if they got a Crest card like the previous collabs, as Crest cards quite literally changes the game's rules. Special Self Mashiro Kurita when she rides over the grade 1 Mashiro, lets you add up to 1 Morphonica card from the top 7 cards of your deck. Call me paranoid, but the image they chose for this seems like they got a regular picture of her and Photoshop her hat and costume. Shining Brilliance Toko Kirigaya, while on the left front row rear guard gets 5k power when your Mashiro Vanguard attacks, or when you reveal a trigger unit on your drive check. This is just becoming Hexorb Sorceress 2.0 with how they focus on checking triggers. On a side note, I haven't kept up with Bang Dream after the 3rd season, but she looks like Kokoro, that no longer sports a Himedi cut hairstyle. Genius level talent Nanami Hiromachi once per turn while on rear guard, lets you either pay 1 counter blast or soul blasting 1 trigger unit to call a Morphonica unit card from your drop zone with a different name than your rear guards. Correction. This is probably the real reason why Morphonica got their own nation. Any other nation that gets to use her without restrictions would have been too broken. Hardworking leader Tsukushi Futaba when placed on rear guard lets you either pay 1 counter blast or putting a trigger unit from your hand into your soul to add up to 1 Mashiro card from the top 7 cards of your deck. You countercharge 1 damage instead if you did not add a card with this ability. And while on rear guard during your turn, all your Morphonica units get 5k power if you have a grade 3 or higher Mashiro Vanguard and 1 of each Toko, Nanami, herself, and Rui on rear guard. Why would you even want to put a trigger unit for her abilities cost when it gives you a refund of 1 counter blast if you didn't add anything? Elegance filled Elite Rui Yashio when placed on rear guard lets you send up to 1 Morphonica music order from your deck to the drop zone. She gets 5k power instead if you didn't send a card with this ability. And while on the right front row rear guard, you can either pay 1 soul blast or revealing a trigger unit from hand when she attacks while you have a Mashiro Vanguard and you played a music order this turn to add a Morphonica music order card from your drop zone. Funny how she has Elite in her name title considering she turned Bang Dream's Big 3 into the Elite 4. Besides that, the only thing I know about her is that Bushiroad made her voice actor play her violin on one of the earlier PowerPoint presentations to pad out the time and make card shop investors prone to giving them their money. Fly with the Night is a music order card when played, is put at your central back row rear guard until the end of your turn. That prevents all your Morphonica rear guards from being chosen by your opponent's card effects until the end of their next turn. If you have Morphonica Vanguard, then call up to 1 Morphonica card from your drop zone with a different name than your rear guards. Oh look, A card that basically gives Gendiva players the middle finger by making Best Harvest unusable. Meanwhile other decks are still suffering from a lack of restrictions. Incomplete Metamorphosis Marshiro Curator once per turn while on Vanguard lets you discard a grade 3 Marshiro card when she's attacked by your opponent's rear guard to redirect that attack to one of your other Morphonic rear guards. And while on Vanguard, you can pay 1 counterblast if you didn't play an order card this turn to add up to 1 Morphonic music order card from your deck or drop zone. Expect a lot of ruling disputes for certain abilities that require attacking the Vanguard, since this card has the same ability as Rubidium for Omega Glendius back in the old days. Symphonic of the Fantasy World Marshiro Curator when riding over Incomplete Metamorphosis Marshiro Curator makes you activate Persona Ride then play 1 Morphonic music order card from your drop zone then she gets 2 auto abilities at once per turn. You can put a trigger unit from hand into your soul at the end of the battle she attacked to stand herself but loses 1 drive check. And you ride Incomplete Metamorphosis Marshiro Curator from your soul at the end of your turn. This is just the Craycross epic upgrades in DBT11 by letting herself revert back to her regular form. Only difference is you don't bind the base form and thus prone to accidentally soul blasting it and ruining your entire deck. Near to Sunny Sunny is a music order card when played, is put at your central back row rear guard until the end of your turn. That makes your opponent call 2 or more cards to the Guardian Circle at the same time if they wish to guard during the battle your Marshiro Vanguard attacks. And your Marshiro Vanguard gets 5k power when she attacks. So Bushiroad gave her a standing Vanguard a guard restrict and a way to keep powering up for every attack. Let's just hope they don't provide her a way to get an extra crit otherwise this becomes tier 0. Finally, here are the nation's vanilla triggers and D-series Sentinel. The thing about new nations being introduced is that Bushiroad has to provide it with at least 2 of each trigger type, and that's not including the effect triggers, otherwise it gets outclassed by everything else. Every player's draw or front triggers needs to have bigger shields to be worth using. And wouldn't it be funny if they forgot to give this deck their own over trigger? Then again, this seems like they are pushing players to use the recent Cray Elemental over triggers for this. And that concludes this Vanguard news video. Be sure to subscribe and let me know in the comments how you keep thinking of Morphtronics instead during this video.